Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting video because it's something I love talking about and doing the most probably, which is thrifting. Now I've seen a lot of these videos going around at YouTube of like thrift tips and the best ways to thrift and like hacks for thrifting and everything like that, which is super helpful, but I found that a lot of them are for American thrift stores, and if we've learned anything it's that thrifting in English charity shops is a hell of a lot different. Like I've done a whole video on it. So yeah, we're kind of bringing it back over the seas to the UK to kind of give you my tips about thrifting in English charity shops, because thrifting is getting more and more popular. People are travelling just to thrift, or like travelling with the idea of thrifting in mind, like as one of the activities they want to do whilst they're there. So I thought if any of you are either like natives of England, like live in England, or you're travelling to England and you wanted to kind of check out the charity shops or thrift stores, then I thought these were some great tips for you to use to kind of make your trip a bit more successful, because I've been thrifting for quite a while now, and especially within like the last year I've really upped my thrifting game, so I feel like I've got a little bit of know-how now which I'd love to share with you all. So the first thing that is obviously really crucial for a thrifting like success, I guess, is where you thrift. Now this can be a bit hit and miss, don't get me wrong, there are charity shops all over the place, but what I tend to do is if I'm moving to an area or if I'm visiting an area, I'll just type charity shops, that's what we call them in the UK, charity shops, into Google Maps or something and just see how many pins come up. And if I see that there's an area with like 5 or 6 pins, I'll kind of zoom in on that area and check out the charity shops one by one. And when I say like check out the charity shops, it's not like, oh, it's for St. Christopher's, I know that's a good one, because each charity shop is so different. So what I tend to do is click on it, maybe look at the reviews, which can be a bit hit or miss, because if you pop into a charity shop you don't usually review it. It's only if something really bad were to happen that you'd think, oh, I'm going to leave a review, which is kind of bad, but people love to complain. But what I tend to do is look at the photos, because that way I can see how big the store is, how big the men's section is, how big the women's section is, if it's all kids stuff or if it's all home decor and things like that. So you can kind of get a better idea and a better vibe of what to expect, because you don't want to turn up to a charity shop thinking like it's going to be a freaking Savers thrift store and you get there and it's like the size of a shoebox. So have that in mind, and that's just a really great way, because then I always suggest going to multiple thrift stores. So if there's like 5 or 6 in an area, or 4 or 7, whichever, depending on how long you want to thrift for, I always tend to go to that area, and you can really make a trip of it. Like if it's all on one high street, you can just hop on a bus and go there. But as I said, there tend to be quite a lot of charity shops dotted around, maybe not so much in central London, but if you go a bit further out, I live in London so this is what I'm referring to, if you go a bit further out there's a lot of charity shops where it's a bit more residential, especially growing up in Bournemouth, which is like super residential. There are so many charity shops there as well, so you can definitely find some good ones. So like I mentioned earlier, I would say go in as many charity shops as you can. I really do think it's about, like, the more you go to, the more luck you're going to have, really. You're kind of like expanding your chances of finding something good, which when you go to an American thrift store and it's huge, you kind of have that luck already there because there are so many items. But for English people to get that many items, we do have to go to a few thrift stores, because like I said, especially in London, we're quite limited on space, so they don't tend to be huge warehouses. So yeah, pop in as many as you can, and I would say don't be too judgmental. Like if the storefront doesn't look very good, or like, I don't know, something's just a bit off about it, still go in, have a look around. You don't have to spend half an hour in there or an hour. You can just pop in, have a nosy and leave if it's not for you. But I would say you never really know with charity shops. Like you find some really good hidden gems. Sometimes you don't, and it's literally like your first thoughts were right, but you would be surprised at the amount of times I've popped into a charity shop just because it was around the corner or just for convenience or whatever, and actually I've found some really great stuff in there. So don't be too judgy with how a charity shop looks from the outside. I think this next tip is probably like the key for thrifting success, and that's to have a thrift list. Now by this I just mean like a list of items that you're looking for, but what I don't mean is Mickey Mouse white sweatshirt or leopard print slip dress with black lace trimming. Like you don't want to be too specific, because you are just shooting yourself in the foot. I think the whole thing with charity shopping and thrifting is you do have to be a bit open-minded. So on my thrift list, I'll read it out to you, shall I? It's so basic, but it just gives you a bit of a better idea to be more like general and open-minded with what you're looking for. Obviously you have like an idea in mind and you know there's colours that you like or prints that you like, that's absolutely fine. But like my thrift list, for instance, like graphic tees, mum jeans, little cardigans, square neck tops, sweatshirts, neutral tones, like it's very broad, and that way I can be more open-minded when I go into a thrift store, and I won't feel so like disheartened or disappointed when they don't have that exact thing that I'm looking for, because it's really not like going to a shop where you've seen a picture of something online and you know they have it and you know that they do it in your size, so you can just go in and grab it and leave, which is what like the retail shopping, or like not retail shopping, what's it called? Retail therapy is all about, because you just get like an instant hit, like yes I got it, how exciting. Whereas with charity shopping you might not get that if you're so specific, whereas if you keep things a bit more broad, you keep your mind open, open even to like adjusting stuff or cropping items or looking in the kids section or the men's section or whatever, you can really find some great things because you're not limiting your options, you're open to everything, and just by having some specific areas you can know where you want to look first or whatever, but you don't have to restrict yourself on only getting this exact item. So a tip that goes hand in hand with that is to be open-minded, like I said, but also be willing to kind of adjust things or alter things or flip, I can never say this word, thrift flip things. So I think the majority of my tops and sweatshirts that I get from the charity shop I do crop. If something's got a stain on it, think about maybe putting a patch over it or cropping that. Cropping is probably the easiest thrift flip ever, like you can't get it very wrong, which is useful. If there's a plain t-shirt but you wanted a graphic t-shirt, can you put a patch on that, put a sticker on it? If there's a pair of jeans but they're too long, can you crop them, can you roll them, would they be good as a pair of shorts? Just being like a bit more creative, just so that you have that idea of what you want, but can you turn something else into that idea? Can you be a bit thrifty, come up with something completely new that would really suit you and your wardrobe. My next tip is key if you're going for like the long haul, if you're going to like 5 or 6 charity shops and you're looking for a lot of items and you want to get like a big haul of stuff. Definitely start in the charity shops, like go in and find the section you need. So if you want a sweatshirt, go straight to the men's sweatshirts first. If you're looking for cute tops, go straight to the women's tops first in your size. Like be specific about where you choose first, because I feel like if you just go in and you go rail through rail, like that's fine if you're just doing it like casually, just leisurely, that's absolutely fine. If you could just go through rail by rail, by the time you get to the men's sweatshirts you might get a bit burnt out because you've already spent so long looking through everything else. So I think it would be important to like start off where you want, see if the goods are there, keep your energy high whilst you're doing it, like your optimism's there, and then have a leisurely look around the rest of the stuff. Don't do the leisurely look first, because by the time you get to the item you wanted you may be feeling like a bit disheartened or a bit worn out, and by the time you get to that charity shop and you're looking through pyjamas but you want to be looking through shirts, nah, it's not going to work for you and you're going to get like very grumpy quite quickly. Or I do at the least, maybe I have too many emotions with thrifting, but that's just the way I find out. I start where I want, see if I can find the goods. If I don't, I look around other places, see if there's any treasures in there, but if there are, it's great. I get the high of finding a good thrifted gem and I keep looking. Now the next tip I think is in every thrift video, like thrift tip video ever, but it's something I only learned very recently and it's so goddamn true if you want to be like successful in your thrift, is to go through every item. Now by every item I don't mean like every item in the whole charity shop, because that would take you hours even for our tiny English charity shops. What I mean is, say you want a sweatshirt or a tiny top, like a little cute strappy top, I would go to the women's section. I'd go from 8 to like 12. I'm usually a 10, so I kind of choose like a wider range of sizes because you never really know if things are going to fit you. Some of them are from really weird brands and they could be mixed up and things like that. So I kind of take a bigger section than just my size 10 or whatever, and I go one by one through the items. It's kind of like if you've ever been to TK Maxx or TJ Maxx or whatever, where everything's just jumbled in together. That's basically what a charity shop is, right? So you want to go through every item because some things have really tiny straps and they may be hidden behind. Some things may be like covered over with another thing. Some things may have dropped off and you've only got one end on it so you can't see it. And there are other like bigger, brighter things that could be like covering up or just hiding it from you spotting it straight off the rack. So I would definitely suggest going through every item, especially because things can also get misplaced. So like a while ago I had 2 tops that I tried on which were exactly the same, like the same top, both still had the label on it, both from Fashion Nova, both the same size, but one was in the small section and one was in the medium sections, which were like the other side of the store for some strange reason. So you do have to go through quite a lot of items, but yeah, like I said, you could find like a pair of pyjama bottoms in the jeans section, or you could find like a cute slip dress in the top section or whatever. So it's nice to have kind of a brief look through, depending on how long you want to spend, obviously. That is really the way that I found some real hidden gems, because they're not there to be just grabbed off the rack and just run away with. They have to be worked for, but that just makes it more satisfying when you do find a good little gem in there, because you know you've put in the work and you've got your reward, kind of. So my last tip is kind of new to the thrifting game, or maybe I'm just late to the thrifting game, but it's something I've been actively trying to incorporate into my thrifting trips and things like that, but it's thrifting sustainably. Now, to the outsider, I guess this could sound really weird, because like thrifting is sustainable, so how do you thrift sustainably? But for me, thrifting isn't about just getting a load of stuff because I want a good haul, or buying a load of things which I'm going to wear once kind of thing. I still want to shop mindfully, because I'm really trying to reduce my kind of like consumer mindset that I need more and I need this because that person has it and I saw this on this model so I need it. I'm really trying to pull that back to like bare basics and just get things that I really and truly enjoy and that make me happy. So for me, I always think, does this fill a gap in my wardrobe? That's one of the main things, especially because we've recently downsized, so I don't have as much room for all my clothes, so I do have to be more mindful of the clothes that I pick and the clothes that go into my wardrobe. So if I've got a white sweatshirt, I'm not going to go out and buy another white sweatshirt because I've already got one. But if I wanted a red sweatshirt, which I don't have, I could be like, oh yeah, that definitely fills a gap in my wardrobe. I love sweatshirts, if you can't already tell. So just things like that, just being mindful about, does it fill a gap in my wardrobe? The next question I ask myself is, will I be wearing it in 5 years' time? Now, I think this is a really, really crucial statement, because I think 80% of things that get donated to charity shops and thrift stores, that's a tricky one, actually end up in landfill anyway. So I don't want to be kind of an interim owner. I don't want to keep it for a year and then just put it back in there to go in the landfill. If I'm buying it, it's because I want it for the long term rather than just a little space of time. Obviously, if you're buying for an occasion, that's slightly different. But again, I would be mindful of like, can I wear it again maybe? Or could I do something, could I crop it into a top rather than a dress and wear it again? So yeah, that's something I bear in mind. So the items I buy, I have to make sure like they're good enough to last about 5 years. I could imagine wearing it in 5 years' time when I'm like 27, I've got a proper job and like a house and things, my life's together. Who knows if that's ever gonna happen. But would I be wearing it then? If the answer is yes, I tend to go for it. And then the next thing for me as a London student is, what is the price tag? Because some British charity shops or London charity shops really test you with those prices, honestly. So for me, my rule is kind of, if it's £4 to £4.50, that's fine. If it's under that, great. If it's like £5, £6, £7, £8, it's gonna have to be really damn nice for me to buy it. Just because I know going into Primark or going into wherever, I could get something for £7 or £8. And although charity shopping is great because it is sustainable and it is secondhand, I'm still trying to save money through thrifting. That's another reason why I thrift. So I'm not about to spend the big bucks, £7, on a top or a sweatshirt when I could buy that new. I'm obviously not gonna buy it new, but I'm gonna hold out until I find one a little bit cheaper. But yeah, they're kind of like the 3 questions I ask myself, whether I really need that item rather than just getting caught up in the thrifting experience and wanting to buy everything. Just keeping it mindful and more like conscious of the environment and adding items to my wardrobe that I really, really love rather than just owning them for a little bit and putting them back where they came from. But yeah, they are all my tips for charity shopping in England. I hope that has helped some of you. Maybe some of you are coming over to thrift, maybe some of you live here and want to try and thrift. There are definitely some great tips to take with you. I'm sure there are far more, and there are so many videos out there. I'm sure I've overlapped some other people's suggestions, but really, if everyone's saying the same thing, it's obviously working. So take some notes with you. Hopefully you'll have a very successful thrifting trip. But thank you very much for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below, because I'm currently posting 3 videos a week. So hopefully I'll see you very soon.